Jesus said to the crowds, "This is how it is with the kingdom of God. It is as if a man were to scatter seeds on the land and would sleep and rise night and day, and through it all the seeds would sprout and grow, he knows not how. Of its own accord the land yields fruit, first the blade, then the ear, then the full grain in the ear, and when the grain is ripe, he wields the sickle at once, for the harvest has come." He said, "To what shall we compare the kingdom of God? Or what parable can we use for it? It is like a mustard seed, that, when sowed in the ground, is the smallest of all seeds on the earth. But once it is sown, it springs up and becomes the largest of plants, and puts forth large branches, so that the birds of the sky can dwell in its shade." With many such parables, he spoke the word to them as they were able to understand it. Without parables, he did not speak to them, but to his own disciples he explained everything in private. The word of the Apostle Mark.
Praise to you, Jesus Christ.
What does it feel like to be transplanted like a tender shoot so that you might grow into a mighty cedar? What does it mean to walk by faith and not by sight? And can we even do that? How about scattering seeds and not worrying about how they grow? Susan, is that possible? About 15 years ago, my stepdad Rob was diagnosed with lung cancer. Over the next 6 months, I spent most days either taking him to and from appointments or sitting with him during the day so that my mom could sleep. She had the night shift. After one of his last appointments, he wanted to stop and get me flowers as a thank you for all that I had done. I looked at him out of my side of my eye, because goodness knows I would never take my eyes off the road while driving. He taught me to drive. And said, "I don't think I want something that will die right now." He said, "Okay, let's get a plant instead." I looked over at him and said, "I don't think I want something that will die right now." We both got a laugh out of that because I was notorious for killing plants. I managed to kill 2 cacti, one from underwatering, the other I drowned. His reply was, "It won't. It will thrive." Talk about faith. Much like the man in today's gospel, I don't know how, but that plant is still alive many years later. Based on the number of times I've replanted it, you could even say it has thrived. Sure, it's a hardy plant type. Rob wasn't a fool. He knew the color of my thumbs and met me where I was at. He trusted the rest. He would say to fate, I would say to faith. So what exactly is Ezekiel talking about when he says God will take the tender shoot and replant it? Commentators say this is Ezekiel's version of Elijah's better known, at least to me, prophecy of taking from the root of Jesse, the prophecy of the Messiah. A promise given to an exiled people living far from their promised land, that one day they would return and that many would rest in the shade of that promise. How does it feel to be plucked from what seems to be a thriving tree, uprooted in a sense, and placed down in a new location, even if it is the promised land? I think for many of us here at Beloved, we have an idea of what this feels like. We feel we've been uprooted and replanted in this place. Do we have the courage that Paul speaks of to walk by faith, not by sight? To trust that God will make of us a place where many can shelter in our shade. 2, as Thomas Merton said, believe that the desire to please you does in fact please you. And 2, I know this, if I do it, you will lead me by the right road, though I may know nothing about it. Do we trust enough to toss out seeds without worry as to how they'll grow? Can we scatter our seeds without needing to see the fruits they might produce? Sometimes in life we're aware of God moving in us. We actively reach out to help someone clearly in need, and we are in their lives long enough to see at least some of those fruits. Still, more often than not, we are like the man in the gospel, scattering seeds upon the land, not knowing what, if anything, will come of them. We smile at a stranger passing by and either brighten their day or go unnoticed. We hand someone in need our change with no idea of how it will be used. We say a kind word or quick prayer and then go on about our day, never knowing if anything was changed by it. We walk by faith, not by the clear light of knowledge, and that is all that is asked of us. Maybe it's easier to see the results of those interactions in our own lives. Each of us can look back and see the stranger's smile or the child's laugh that brightened our day when we really, really needed it. Or we can look back at a time when someone gave us a helping hand and changed the path we were on. It is easy to name the people who had an impact on our lives, and maybe they are unaware of that impact because they continued on, scattering seeds where they may, and left the rest up to faith. This week, as you smile at the stranger, utter a kind word, or go out of your way to help another. Know with the clear light of faith that the seeds of love you scatter will thrive, no matter how many black thumbs are involved.